Good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen, and I've got an extra special review for you this morning. Last night I had the immense pleasure of seeing, for the first time live, Dream Theater. I've been a big fan of this band for about 5 or 6 years now. I know they've been around for nearly 30 years, but this was my first such occasion seeing them, and it was a treat. It was just a phenomenal gig from start to finish. Um, my words will just sound pitiful. I just can't sum it up properly in words. It's well known that every member of this band is an absolute demon at his craft. It's like they sold their souls individually to the devil to get such a great sound out of their instruments. Let me go into each individual member on their own merits. So we've got Jordan Rudess, the wizard, who wears his wizard's cap a lot during the performance. He's just, one of the best keyboard players that currently exist in the world. Any musician or somebody that's in the know about music would tell you about that. Jordan Rudess is just a monster. Um, he had his guitar out at some points during the show. We got some brilliant guitar solos. Um, John Petrucci, I mean, say no more. The man's just a legend. Um, you've got Mike Mangini behind the drum kit, who is a more than adequate replacement for the outgoing Mike Portnoy. Any dismissers of Mangini, just see him live and you'll be proven wrong. The guy was just, it was just something else. Like he was bashing out rhythms like nobody's business, and he got his own drum solo during the Enigma Machine instrumental. The set list was pretty much the same as the recent Breaking the Fourth Wall DVD. So it was a show comprised of 3 acts. The first act is mostly new material from their new album and their last 2 albums. So the dramatic turn of events tour missed Australia. So we got 2 songs from that album. So the first set is mostly new material. Second set is mostly comprised of an homage to Awake, which was an album released 20 years ago. And they played basically the entire second side of that album. And it was just great. Space Divest live. I mean, it was the first time they've played it live this year. Full stop. You have the Awake segment was one of my highlights of the gig. You have at the end of the second set there was Illumination Theory, which was possibly the actual overall highlight of the entire show. The encore was 4 songs from the Scenes from a Memory album, which was released 15 years ago. I'm a big fan of the last 2 albums with Mangini. I've got the deluxe box set of the latest album, which includes the vinyl record and the CD, Blu-ray edition, and a special 12-inch of the Bigger Picture single. Yes, James LeBrie, I don't want to hear any more criticism of him. Last night, utterly and unanimously dispelled all notions of him being a bad singer. He was just on fire. James LeBrie was fantastic last night. I had no problems with him whatsoever. So, haters, what have you got against him? I thought he was brilliant. Am I forgetting anyone? John Myung is the song's silent presence throughout all of the songs. He never says a word, but he's there the whole time, backing up the band. And he got his own solos, of course, during Breaking All Illusions and The Dance of Eternity. Myung is this silent, quiet type, but he really should write more often for this band. Breaking All Illusions is their best song in years, and it was absolutely one of the highlights of this gig. If you're going to the gig in Sydney tonight, enjoy. It's going to be a phenomenal experience. The crowd was maybe 50-50. 50-50 meaning you had maybe 50% metalheads and 50% prog fans. That's the way it usually is at Dream Theater shows. Not many girls in attendance. Dream Theater is, I guess you could say, a mostly male-oriented band. But there were a few double X specimens in attendance, you could say. Okay, what was I about to say next? Yes, Dream Theater is a band you have to be kind of open-minded to listen to. You have to be into your progressive rock, and also you have to be in your metal too. To people not in the know, I describe Dream Theater as being somewhere in the missing link between Rush and Metallica. They're like the modern-day Rush. They're like a cult band with a global following, and a very loud cult following. And their reputation is well deserved. They put on a brilliant show every time they perform. I've seen them, of course, many times live on DVDs, but I've never seen them in the flesh until last night, and I will definitely go again. Labrie was joking with the crowd saying they lost their way to Australia. They forgot how to fly here last time, so they promise it won't be another 5-year wait till the next show. And I certainly hope he lives up to his word. So Dream Theater, Images and Words, when it first struck, was a very brave album because it came out in the height of the grunge era. Like Nirvana and Pearl Jam were breaking through, and Alice in Chains. And here comes along this band who dares to resurrect progressive rock. But they did so with this kind of metallic edge. They play progressive rock with this metal intensity, and it's just riveting. Like, how could you sit still during that show? Last night, there were some people in my area that were quite sedate, just sitting. It was a seated venue, just sitting there. And how can you keep your head still? I wasn't sitting. There was a fair bit of air guitaring, headbanging going on. And there's another guy near me was getting into it. And my buddy was really getting into it too, with his air drumming and guitaring. Now, thank you for the tickets, Josh Batten, my mate from Melbourne. I got a comp ticket and only had to pay half price for mine. So thanks very much for inviting me along. And it was a pleasure. And I loved meeting you and the other guys, Christian. And it was a fantastic gig. And yeah, Dream Theater may be a band that you have to... they're an acquired taste. They're not for everyone. If you're into your progressive rock, give them a chance. If you're into your like thrash style metal, like Metallica, definitely give them a shot. They do recall Metallica sometimes. I think if you take one part aggressive rock, heavy metal, one part classic metal like Maiden, Sabbath, take one part Yes and Rush, and stir it together with a little bit of U2 and Journey and AOR rock, you get essentially what is Dream Theater. They're kind of all of those above ingredients and more. They're like a virtuoso band. They're a musician's band. It's like a band full of Joe Satriani. It's like every member is a Joe Satriani at his instrument. Yeah, I'm probably fanboying a bit here, but it was a gig I'd waited 5 years to see. I missed them in 2009, and I'm so glad I didn't miss them this time. I would have been gutted if I missed them on this tour. Unfortunately, it was only 2 shows. Adelaide, Melbourne and Sydney were the only 2 shows they played on this tour, unfortunately. Hopefully next time they have a full, proper Aussie tour, which includes Melbourne, Adelaide, Sydney, Brisbane, and maybe Perth. That would be a proper Aussie tour. And hopefully next time they will deliver on that. Yeah, what else could I say? Dream Theater, check them out. I'll have some more movie reviews for you soon, and music. This is Adam Alton signing out for now. Have a great day, everyone, and long live Dream Theater.